people are exceptionally worried about where this is heading. And I'm not just talking about the military escalation between Israel and Gaza. These eruptions of violence between individual civilians on either side. This is a really worrying, upsetting, frightening, frankly, period. I'm Harry Fawcett, Al Jazeera's Jerusalem correspondent, and between us, after 4 years living in Israel-Palestine, these have been some of the most depressing days. Well, we're here in southern Israel, about 5 kilometers north of Gaza. This is an area that we've been seeing a lot of activity just in the last couple of minutes. We had to run a few meters away to a bomb shelter quite close to us because, again, there was a huge barrage coming out of Gaza. This sort of cycle of rocket attacks coming out of Gaza, interceptions very close to us as the Iron Dome tries to deal with the rockets coming out, and of course the airstrikes going in, and our colleagues inside Gaza telling us what the impact of those airstrikes have been. Israel has been ringing up residents and getting people to evacuate those buildings, and then we get the warning shots, what are sometimes known as taps, on the roof of that building, and then these buildings are just razed to the ground with airstrikes.
انهار البرج انهار البرج.
Safwat Al-Khaloud joins us live from outside the rubble of the Al Jazeera offices.
Here in the background you could see my colleagues. We had to leave everything behind us, including our memories, including years of work.
These are major buildings within the civilian infrastructure that are now just piles of rubble, clouds of dust. As far as Israel is concerned, they also house military facilities used by Hamas and other fighting factions, and this is a major sort of expression, I suppose, of Israel's air superiority, its military superiority, that it can do this kind of thing at will. We're seeing civilian deaths mounting inside Gaza in much greater number than we are inside Israel. I think you just have to use your eyes to see what is going on inside Gaza, and indeed the fear and terror going on inside the civilian communities in Israel as well. Well, Jerusalem, it has been boiling for weeks, erupting in flashes of unrest and violence. A lot of it has been focused on the Ramadan month, the initial decision by the police to restrict access to an area outside Damascus Gate. It's really one of the main public squares in occupied East Jerusalem. And so then attention turned to a parallel issue of Sheikh Jarrah and a group of families who've been living there for generations. And now we have this Jewish corporation saying that they have proof that it is owned by Jews and that these people need to get out. There has been a long-running legal battle to try to prevent that from happening. You may have seen the exceptionally effective online advocacy that Muna and Mohammed Al-Kurd have been doing.
You are stealing my house!
And if I don't steal it, someone else is going to steal it.
When you talk to these people, they feel that they've been simply ignored and abandoned, and here they are in an occupied area, threatened with the loss of the home that they've been in for generations. When I think back to the end of April, there were TikTok videos going around of Palestinian Israeli youths sort of slapping ultra-Orthodox. It didn't seem like it was going to take off in the way that it has now. There's a report from the town of Acre up in the north of Israel. A 37-year-old Jewish Israeli man was reported to be going out looking for some of his students. He was spotted by a Palestinian Israeli group and he was beaten with stones and sticks. One of the most widely shared videos has been of a man in the city of Bat Yam. There was a group of young Jewish men on the street and they spotted him, decided that he looked like a Palestinian Israeli, and they just dragged him to the ground and started beating and kicking him. This is the kind of intercommunal, face-to-face, close-quarters violence that is now going on. I'm not a Pollyanna. I understand that there are deep, clear fractures and frictions between Jews and Arabs in Israel and Palestine, but largely you see people setting it aside and getting on with just daily life. And so to see it erupt in this very personal, close quarters, unhinged, unpoliced way is something that, for me as an observer, but I think more specifically for Palestinian Israelis and Jewish Israelis, is a really confronting, difficult thing to watch and a frightening thing to watch, considering where it could lead to.